This podcast is for entertainment purposes only and does not constitute professional advice. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed are the speaker's own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of their affiliated organizations.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Ready to Connect. I'm Ryan.
I'm Lisa.
I'm Heather.
And this is the next episode to Ready to Connect where we're talking about the
Clairsentience today.
Clairsentience, yes.
Yeah, clear feeling.
Yeah, so it should be a lot of fun. Can't wait to learn more about it and to tell our viewers some experiences that we've had with it as well. But before we get into that, do you want to share about anything fun that we did recently outside of the podcast or anything exciting?
Absolutely.
I
I have a great story. So one
Okay.
night, Kyle and I, my boyfriend and I, were sitting out on the patio, and I don't even know how we got on the topic, but he decided to tell me about this interaction he had on Tuesday, and it was at 10:30 at night, and I instantly cued in because he's telling me this. He's sitting on the couch. The TV was on, but it was really low, and he could hear like wartime music, like the 1940s music.
Oh, wow.
And he could really hear it. So he turned the TV off. He went outside. He checked everywhere because it's not usually his genre to listen to. So he really cued into it. And my mouth dropped open because even though this has been happening my whole life, like there's just certain things you're always kind of in awe of. So he says to me, I'm listening to his music. It's clear as day. I don't know who it is. And he's like, I'm not psychic. And I'm like, okay. And I said, well, the strangest thing, 10:30 Tuesday night, I had no TV on. I was just sitting in my chair reading. And what snapped me forward was my foot was tapping. I could hear one of the genres, whether it was Glenn Miller Band or Andrew Sisters or one of that whole wartime genre. And I just started tapping along and then like just bebopping along and then it was gone.
Wow.
So what I was saying is I do feel it shows how connected you and Kyle are to have that experience at the same time.
Definitely. But I want to point out that I was in Coventry in my home and he was in his home in Massachusetts. So like it was an individual experience, but yet we shared the same sound, the same beat, the same everything. And I was just sitting in my chair winding down from the night. It's one of the things I like to do. I just shut the internet off and just like read and like by ambient light. It just soothes my body. It calms me down. And like, not a clue that this was happening to him either because it was 10:30 at night. So we weren't talking. And to have him bring that up at the, just in the middle of nowhere, like out of conversation was really cool. And it's something we'll dive deeper in to see if we can like recognize maybe the song and like maybe it was something to do with somebody we knew or
Maybe it'll happen again.
or maybe it'll happen again, which would be wonderful because I love experiences like that, where you just find that connection with anybody. It doesn't have to be just your partner, right? So it was fun. It was a fun chat.
Yeah. You had a good weekend too, right? You went to go see fireworks.
Had a great weekend. We went to the Newport Fireworks in Rhode Island, which
Oh, nice.
they always put off a beautiful show. So
Yeah.
yeah. And you had your grandbaby.
Yeah, I want to move on to what I've been up to lately.
Sure.
So we had a couple excursions. My I don't know if I relayed this last time. Although no, we my husband and I, well, he received as a gift these cards that you scratch off that show like an adventure to go on in the state kind of thing.
Oh, wow.
And so last weekend we picked he picked one to do, and so we ended up doing what it was said, which was to hike out Meigs Point at Hammonasset Beach Park. And so we went out there, the nature center, spent some time at the Sound, lying on the Sound, and that was really lovely. But this past weekend, I had family over for 4th of July, and just at my house, sitting around the pool, and all my kids were there. My son Chris came down from New Hampshire, and my daughter Kelly and her husband Matt and my grandbaby Cole was up, and then my youngest son Kevin and his new fiancee Maggie were over, and my brother came with his family, and we just had a lovely time, and I could feel my mom there as present, part of that. And it was the first time Christopher got to meet his nephew Cole and hold him, which was a lot of fun. And I don't think my daughter really thought much about it. She just said, here's your nephew," plopped him right on Chris's lap. He goes, "Well, how do I do this?" Kind of thing. And it was fun. It was a lot of fun to have the family together, and just to kick back. And it's different when you look at your kids and they're all grown, and you're the mom. You're like, wow, look at them. It's just perfect. And the rest of the weekend was just my husband and I just kind of chilling by the pool. Chris was down and for a while seeing some friends and things, but it was nice. It was a nice weekend. What about you?
Nice.
What'd you do for the 4th of July, or have any good plans? Anything to report?
No, I didn't do anything for the 4th of July other than hear the neighbors launching fireworks.
Oh, yeah, a lot of that.
So
a
that
lot
was
of that.
that was fun. But yeah, I got to go visit my parents for a bit. We also filmed, so our company, our Saving Media, filmed a music video for a local band called 77 Apes, and it was cool because we had our whole team together of interns and our team, and the band was fantastic, and so it was pretty nice to see it all come together and just to experience that. It's been a while since Chris and I have done a music video for our band. Try to get him to talk.
Hint, hint.
No,
Yeah.
I'm sure Chris has a lot to say about it.
Yes, he does. Yes. But yeah, so it was nice to get back into that frame of mind of, we're doing something creative,
Yeah.
we're doing something music related, and so it was nice just to be in that atmosphere. Also, we were utilizing a space that our own band had used like 5 years ago, so it was nice to get back into that too.
Your business does a lot of different things, between the
We
website
do.
and the graphic
Yeah.
designing all the way to music videos. I think it's pretty cool. Your creative juices can really get flowing with all that.
Yeah, never a dull moment. That's what we like to say.
Yeah.
Always something, but it's fun too.
So did you have an experience?
Yes, I did. Yeah, so this past weekend, as I was driving through my apartment complex and just trying to cut through, and I saw what I first thought was someone walking, a tall gentleman just walking along the sidewalk or through the parking lot. And I kind of slowed down at first. I was like, okay, like, where's he going? And I looked up and he wasn't there. And I was like, okay. And then kind of looked away and looked back and he was there again. I was like, oh, all right. Okay. So this is a spirit out in the wild, as I like to say. And it was my first time seeing it like that, where I wasn't connected to anything.
Wasn't trying.
What's that?
You weren't trying.
No, I wasn't trying. I was literally just driving through.
Do you feel like this gentleman's spirit noticed you, or was it just energy that was kind of like what we would call residual energy, just there?
Oh, that's a good question. It was interesting because he was walking away from me. He was literally just walking by, and I don't think he noticed that I was there. But definitely a tall gentleman wearing, I want to say like one of those hats, like the long hats.
Like
one of
a
those straw hats.
Like an Amish type?
Yeah.
Okay.
One of those with the brim going out a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Nice.
and he was just walking by.
It'd be interesting if you were to go recreate that same day of the week, same time, and
Okay.
see if you'd see him again.
Okay.
And that's what I
Yeah.
would say would be then residual energy that happens again and again. It's just energy caught in a moment.
Interesting.
Like that happens
Okay.
over at the Mark Twain house. They have residual energy of the scurry maids kind of going in and
They
around.
do. If you go to the Mark Twain house and as a psychic, whatever your clairs are, you can stand in the dining room and you will either feel the maids going back and forth in front of the buckboard, or you'll see the energy moving, but they don't respond to you. They don't interact with you. It's
Yeah.
just an energy that happened for so many years that it's ingrained in the home.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's also over by Creaser Park in Coventry, Connecticut, there's a little girl with a red ball and a red dress that plays in the road there. And she's residual. She doesn't respond to you. But when you're coming down the hill, right where the cows are on the left, you'll see this little girl running out into the road to get her red ball. And the same thing,
Oh.
very clairvoyant experience like
Yeah.
you had, where you see this little girl, you see the ball, and you actually question,
Yeah.
I think this is real. So you stop
Right.
until the car comes 90 miles past you, and you're like, okay, it wasn't real.
Wow.
It was a
There's-
residual energy.
Yeah,
Wow.
there's another residual energy on, I think it's called Dunn Road. So if you're coming from my house, like to come over here,
Mhm.
and you come turn onto Dunn Road from, I think it's called Broadway at that point, there is a woman walking on the road. And every now and then, not being very clairvoyant myself, but we'll see that residual energy. Sometimes it's very startling because it's not, it isn't there, and all of a sudden it's there
Yeah.
as you go by it. And that's usually around dusk is
Okay.
when she's walking there. And then,
That's
yeah, not all the time,
fascinating.
but you pick it up.
There's
Same
an-
place,
Yeah.
same spirit. Yeah.
Wow.
There's another residual energy over by Hopewell School in Glastonbury,
Oh.
right near the corner. It's a bride, and somebody actually, like, did their homework to see if it was real and everything. So it's out there. But yeah, there's a bride that passed away going to her wedding
Oh wow.
on the side of the road by Hopewell School, and you will catch her either at
Really?
dusk or at a certain light point, because as we talked about in other episodes, the cone and rods and the peripheral vision allow you to kind of capture this distraught kind of figure trying to gather herself up in her wedding dress, and you can see the panic on her face. And
Wow.
I haven't been in Glastonbury for at least over by Hopewell School in a long time, but usually residual energy doesn't stop. So
Mhm.
It replays itself over and over again.
yeah, it's just a
Interesting.
replay.
You gotta do a
Yeah.
little investigating.
I'll have to recreate that moment.
Yeah,
have to
and
remember.
record
Yes.
so
Yes.
everybody can share on the podcast with it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Oh, it's good to know because, I mean, as I said, I feel like spirits that I've seen or felt or heard around, it's just been spirits that I know or related to someone that I know. So it felt more comfortable in that sense. This was like the first time. Well, I did see someone in a school a while ago, but this was like, I felt like this was different because I was just outside, like just driving.
Yeah,
And-
you weren't expecting it.
No, I wasn't expecting it
Just
at
like
all.
the other time. But
Yeah.
this time it was right there.
It was right there. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Very
that's
cool.
interesting. I'll have to check that out. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
I feel like I learned something new
Well,
every day.
maybe it's a road trip. Maybe we're all going to go over there and see if we can.
Yeah.
Everybody pull into Ryan's apartment complex.
Yeah.
Their car, see if you can see a gentleman walking with a big straw hat on.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
Uh,
So today we're talking about the clear feeling, right? So what we
Yes.
were just talking about is buoyancy, but like there's also feelings that can go with that. Sometimes you can feel the static energy of that residual energy. Some people who are really sensitive will feel that buzzing in their skin, like right under the dermis line. That's one of your
Yeah.
your prominent clairs where you feel spirit.
Being clairsentient is one of the strongest clairs I work with when I connect with spirit. It's, as Heather was saying, I feel a constant energy buzz under my skin all the time. It never goes
Wow.
away. I'm very
Really?
energy sensitive, so I'm very, I have a heightened awareness for not just people's energy, but also the energy of spirit. And, clairsentience means clear feeling, and it can present to you in a lot of different ways. Sometimes, I can sense energy in the room, spiritual, if it's, where it is. So often, if I'm connecting in that manner, I'm staring, almost like how we have our animals that might stare to, it looks like they're staring off into like an empty corner somewhere.
yes.
And they're really just staring at spiritual energy. They're sensitive that way, you know?
Wow.
And so I get my eyes will get drawn to the energy that's in the room, like it is over here right now. And, or you can feel the emotions of spirit. They'll pass through the heart space, how they're feeling, which can be lovely with all the love or the pride or the excitement or the happiness. But you could also feel their confusion, their anger, their sadness, their loneliness sometimes. And I also can feel them physically in my body. So a lot of times spirit will pass to me how they died. just as a way to kind of identify who they are. So, and I think it's really important to note that if you do have the gift of clairsentience and you do feel things physically like pain in your body, it isn't going to last. Just acknowledge it and it'll dissipate. I felt all kinds of strange things, from a gunshot in the stomach, which obviously wasn't as severe as the person who died that way, to
Right.
not being able to breathe too well.
Wow.
And it's never to the point of, I want to say, physical trauma to me, I guess. And then once I acknowledge it, it will dissipate.
Okay.
And once somebody can say, oh, that makes sense, that was so-and-so, that makes sense, it'll dissipate. So sometimes they do that just as a way of identifying who they are. Because a lot of people know how their loved one passed, but they might not remember what they looked like when they were 6 years old. You know what I mean?
True.
So, yeah. So, I mean, and then I also can feel them, like I feel their physical body. Like I can tell, like it's a feeling of I'm very tall or I'm really short.
Oh, wow.
Or I feel like I have a huge laugh, or it's just this kind of weird sensation. I could also start to like channel their mannerisms. I have been known to start doing things with my hands, and you just have to really take note of to what's different, what is yours and what isn't yours. So every day, and actually when we're doing, when I'm engaged in doing readings, before readings, I have to check in. How do I feel mentally, physically, emotionally, and know how I am so that I can tell the difference from what's mine to spirit, so to speak. But, I mean, I really do enjoy it. I think it's helped me in tremendously in a lot of ways, being, that way, clairsentient. It certainly has helped when it comes to healing too. One of the gifts when I do Reiki healing is I can feel somebody's issues in my own body. So like if you have issues with your right foot, so to speak, I would feel my right foot hurt a little bit and I would know to direct energy there. Or if I'm feeling, sadness in the heart, I would know to put, feeling there. Or people walk in the room and I'll say, gee, what's wrong with your hip? And they're like, how'd you know that? I'm like, because my right hip is like really hurting right now. So, and that's not me.
Wow.
That's got to be you because you're the new person in the room.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. You had an experience like that too.
I did, yeah, recently. So yeah, what happened is so my mother had not been feeling well for a bit. Now I didn't know all this information because she didn't want to tell me, but there was a time where in the middle of the night I couldn't sleep because I felt pain right here. And I knew that wasn't me because I'm like, okay, like I felt fine, during the day and everything. At night, it was just the middle of the night, like 2, 3 a.m. All of a sudden I woke up, couldn't go back to sleep because I was in so much pain. And I was like, what's going on? So took just mental note of it, tried to go back to sleep. Then it was a couple weeks later, like I felt it again. And I was like, okay, this is kind of weird. So then finally, she had told me that she had experiencing an infection and I asked her, I said, okay, what side? Was it on your left side? And she said, yeah. And I'm like, okay, I was feeling that pain too. And she's like, oh, when did you feel that? And I'm like, this date, this time, because I wrote it down. And then she's like, yeah, and she's like, it's funny. I woke up, I couldn't sleep that night because it hurt so bad.
Oh.
And I was like, wow, that's crazy that I had the same thing.
Well,
and then
we're so glad Mom was on the mend.
Yeah.
yes, she's doing a lot better. So thankful. And then she had to take some meds, and I was driving over to visit her. This was just a couple weeks ago as well. And something similar to what you were saying, like as I was driving, all of a sudden I felt nauseous. And I'm like, that's not me. Like, I'm okay. And then, so I thought about what you have said in classes I've taken with you before. And I thought, okay, let me figure out what's going on here. So as I'm driving, I'm like asking spirit guides, I'm like, what do I need to know right now? Why am I feeling nauseous? And they said, tell your mother to take probiotics because she's feeling nauseous because of the meds that she's taking. And I was like, okay. So drive over there. You can tell I'm Italian. I'm using my hands here. And so, I pulled up, and the first thing I asked her, I was like, "How are you feeling? Like, I know you're taking meds," and she's like, "Honestly, I'm not feeling good right now." And I said, "Okay, if you're feeling nauseous, take probiotics." So she's like, "Oh yeah, I am feeling that way." So yeah.
How cool is that?
Fantastic.
We call that having clair empathy,
Oh,
or
okay.
to
So
be a clair empath.
okay. So
And
is that different?
there's a difference between being empathic and having empathy.
Okay.
Like anyone, so long as you've been through the same experience, you can show empathy.
Mhm.
Like I've lost my mother, so I can be empathetic to anyone who's lost a mom.
Mhm.
I can only be sympathetic to somebody who's lost a child because I've never lost a child, but I can show sympathy, right?
Mm.
But an empath is going to sense energy and the feelings of living people regardless.
Interesting.
So that's an empath moment. And because you weren't directly in the same room, we call that a clair empath moment. If you're clairsentient, you're probably an empath as well. But not all empaths are clairsentient, being able to pick up the energy of spirit, the feelings of spirit. But a lot of psychics and people who have the gift are empaths, for sure. I mean, if I have a moment, I don't suffer from anxiety. So if I'm feeling anxiety in my body, I
Yep.
check in with people who I know have that as an issue.
Mm.
And that's how I know to call up and say, how you doing? What's going on? And one time I went through, like, I don't know, I have 3 or 4 family members or friends that have issues with anxiety, calling them up till I found the right one that needed to talk to somebody. I've also felt the nausea from my daughter. I'm very connected with my daughter, and I finally called her and said, "Why are you so nauseous?" And she said, "Oh, I had to go to the dentist, and she had to get the gas, kind of
Yeah.
thing." And I'm like, okay. That makes
Another
sense.
thing
Fun
that
times.
happens that you and I share, Ryan, is when we go to the store.
Oh yeah.
That's that empathic feeling of like everybody's spirits in the room with everybody in the grocery store, and
Yes.
it's like a wall. And um, you know, definitely need to heavily speak to like making sure that you're checking in with yourself because
Mhm.
it's not yours. And yeah, grocery stores are not my favorite,
Right.
hardware stores are not my favorite. There's a lot going on in there. And I
Yes.
always feel as soon as I walk in that dread and like that wall of spiritual energy that just kind of puts you back like, all right, I just got to get this over with,
I think when you're
Exactly.
an empath, you have to, or you should, don't have to do anything, but you should do a lot of work with boundaries and boundary work.
Mhm.
I tend not to be as affected, I think, as a lot of empaths are because I do have very strong boundaries. And I think I developed that really, really young in my childhood with the kind of upbringing I had. I think I really needed to have those boundaries there in order to survive it. So, yeah, I mean,
And walls break down.
Yeah,
Like
they
you
do.
can put that shield up, you can put that bubble up, but sometimes somebody just says the right thing and your whole everything just kind of unspirals and like it opens the door and then immediately you're just bum rushed with all that clairsentience, right? All those feelings, the emotions, whatever's going on, and you're like, whoa, this is not mine.
Yeah.
And you need to be able to take a minute and just kind of regroup yourself because you might not make it through the grocery store.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all goes along with it. And or like sitting in traffic.
Hmm.
You're agitated, especially if you have like low gas, right? There's gonna enhance your anxiety, and like then you just start having all these emotions impede you by all the traffic around you too. Have you had that happen to you, Ryan?
Yeah.
Where
That's
you're just in massive traffic and you can feel everybody's anguish.
it's mostly when I'm with large groups of people or a bunch of that's when I'll start feeling. And at first I thought it was my own anxiety. I was like, why do I have such crazy social anxiety?
Yeah,
Because as a kid I didn't feel that way.
yeah.
So, but then I realized, oh, it's because I'm picking up what's going on.
Well, also, you've opened yourself up more. You've gone along your journey
True.
a little bit more. So
Yeah.
as you become more open, you're more receptive. And your qualities of being an empath have done also amped up some too, revved up some. So, yeah, it's important for you to know what's yours and what's not. So when you walk in a situation, you know that you're not the one being anxious.
Right.
And in a lot of ways, if you can turn it around and find the one who's having issues with that, you can be helpful.
Oh, that's
And
a good
that's what I
point.
like about it. Like
Yeah.
I like having these kinds of feelings passed through me because it allows me to know how someone's doing at a moment. And if they needed someone to talk to, or if they just need someone to just acknowledge them, not feel lonely. I mean, this has happened to me. I can't tell you how many times, where I'll be out. My husband notices I do this all the time. I'll be out somewhere. We were out. Probably we were meeting up when we were going to see the Glenn Miller band, talk about Glenn Miller music. And,
Full circle.
we were just, we were just hanging out waiting. Maybe we were waiting for Kyle and Heather to show up or whatever. And there was this woman that walked by, and you could tell she did her best to look fancy, right? And, not that I really maybe adored her outfit or anything like that, but I could tell this woman really needed a pat on the back. She really needed a boost of motivation or inspiration. And so as she walked by, I said, "Excuse me, ma'am." And she goes, "Yeah." And I said, "Your outfit is absolutely lovely. You look really nice tonight. Where did you get that dress?" And her whole demeanor changed. And because I can see the aura, I could see the colors of her aura change too, to be a little bit more uplifting, right? Because I could feel her like trepidation or uncertainty about how she looked or how she was, who she was going to meet up with. And it just totally changed. And she left, as she walked, she walked a little bit straighter, like a little more
wow.
erect. And my husband just looked at me and goes, "You do that all the time. You tell people you do that all the time." I said, "Yeah, it's just part of the gift. You can tell." And that's with living people. So when you have spiritual energy and you can connect to how they're feeling, that's really great. It's wonderful to be able to pass along messages of pride to children who've lost their parents and just want to know how dad thinks of them now, or sometimes it's a little bit of like, I wouldn't call it anger, maybe frustration I get sometimes from grandparents, usually grandmothers, over the choice of boy that their granddaughter has picked for themselves. I've had that, like, "Oh, he's just not good enough for her," kind of feel. And grandmas have absolutely no problem telling you exactly what they feel left and right. I mean, at all. Yeah.
And some of the things you do when you're talking about these stories is you say, "I feel that." That's kind of a tagline too, like the Clairsentience, right? Like, I feel that. I feel you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the vocabulary of a clairsentient for sure. Just like with clairvoyant, it's I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Clairsentient's going to say, I feel that's right. I feel like I need to do this.
So next time you're in a conversation, listen to someone's tagline and just kind of see, are they clairvoyant? Are they clairsentient? Like, it's always fun. It's always fun to just listen.
Right.
What their taglines are.
Yeah.
Is there any story that you could share that maybe you found most shocking with this Claire, or something that was just extraordinary, or any story that you want to share for that?
It's funny because one of the first experiences I think I remember of Heather and I doing, I think it was a psychic gathering together very early on in our business relationship. And it was one of these gatherings where we had a good amount of people in one room in someone's home. And she was sitting there and she was giving a message, and all of a sudden my head totally whipped around to the front door, and I tracked this energy. I mean, I had tracked this energy, and then she looked at me, she goes, "You saw that angel walk in, right?" Because I said, "I didn't see it. She saw it. I felt it." And that was the same gathering that all of a sudden I had a severe pain in my stomach, like right through me. And I said, "Someone here is connected to a spirit that had an issue with their stomach." And they're all like, "Not me, not me." I said, "I feel it like piercing right here," until some young woman said, "My husband was shot."
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, and as soon as she said that, it went away. I said, "Your husband's here."
Wow.
And then all the messages come after that.
Yeah.
one of my favorite feelings, I have to say, one of my favorite feelings that I get is when a happy dog comes in.
Oh,
Because when a happy dog spirit comes in, they're wagging their tail and their butt so freaking fast.
Yeah.
And of course they're low, like to the table, like you see here. And I'm like wanting to grab things because I feel like that energy would knock the stuff off the table. And I'm sure it would if it was a real, still living dog.
Absolutely.
But that happy feeling, oh my God, it's the coolest feeling in the world.
The wiggle butts.
The wiggle butts.
Your puppy gets wiggle butts.
Yeah.
Well, it's not your puppy, but
I say he
your
has
adopted.
Yeah. I say he has, I call it tippy tappy feet because he does a little dance when he's all happy and excited. So, yeah.
I think it behooves us to not include animals in clairsentience in any of the clairs. Animals will track, they will point, they will stop in their whatever they're doing and look up and look around. Many animals, all animals, I believe, just like all humans can do it. They're clairsentient. They can feel the energy come in the room, or they can feel the energy shift. I can remember walking with one of my girlfriend's dogs, and the dog immediately went from like on the job to I'm getting you back to your car, we're hiking, we're doing a good thing, to instantly pushing up against me and looking all the way around me because she couldn't find the actual person, but she sensed someone was close to us, and she's very guarded, very protective dog. She has canine training.
Okay.
And the dog immediately started like up onto my left because she's trained to go to the left.
Yeah.
Sat right at my left and was very close, and she was on a swivel.
Oh, wow.
And so that was my cue because there was nobody else in that part of the hike.
Yeah.
And so you just take a minute, and I said, what do you see?
Mm-hmm.
And she directed right over to a very large tree, and she kept doing the side to side, not like the tilts when you say tree, or you know what I mean, or you want to eat, or you want to go for a walk. Squirrel. It was more of that very, I see that. So
Wow.
I started asking questions, and just as it came in, it was gone. So some forest spirit or someone who maybe had crossed in that part of land when it used to be inhabited, because there's a lot of piece of property was inhabited at some point in history.
Mm-hmm.
So animals do. Horses, dogs, they will sense energy in the room as well. So you can watch a dog go from playing their toy to instantly like focused on either the corner of the room because someone came in, or the door or whatnot. So yeah.
Wow.
It's really cool. I would assume if you pay attention to your roommate's dog, you might catch the dog now actually like catching energy.
Absolutely. It's definitely something I'm going to have to watch out for.
Yeah.
I have a very psychic kitty, and he's a hoot and a half. When we have people come in to get readings, he's got to be a part of it, and he likes to go over to the person and then come up to me and tell me things and go back to the person. And I'll never forget, there was this one time where we had one of our advanced students giving a reading for somebody else, and that somebody else's horse showed up.
Oh.
And my cat Odin was beside himself. Like, I put up with lots of stuff in this room, Mom, but a horse, come on. He was so erratic, jumping around, trying to get someone to get rid of this horse and to recognize a horse before it would go. He was beside himself. They sense that energy.
They do.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
Tap into it.
Yeah. So,
What else about clairsentience should we tell people?
Well, I think there could be a whole podcast just done on empaths and what they are. But
so future podcast, tune in.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just trying to think. I mean, the channeling is definitely one thing. If you're feeling like you have spirit in the room, notice what your body's doing.
Yeah, if you get the hairs on the back of your neck standing up, or the hairs on your arms standing up, right? That's usually you're detecting something coming through, right? Or maybe a cool breeze. A lot of times we talk to people and we hear them say, yeah, I had this experience where I felt a cool breeze.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very cool.
Clairsentient can present as an actual feeling on the body as opposed to feeling in
Just
the body.
inside the body.
Or sensing that energy too, for sure, you know. But yeah,
I think we're evolving finally. Like back in the day, dogs were out in the kennels. They didn't come in the house. They didn't go on the couch. They were family members, but they weren't family members like they are now.
Yeah.
You know, we treat our animals very different than we treated our animals in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, whatever. And so the more and more we get to know these animals, the more and more we see it's not just domesticated animals that have these emotions. I mean, you can go on streaming videos and see chickens who are, you know, just walking up to people because they need the attention, or virtually any animal has feelings. So it's cool when you can tap into like maybe, you know, something you've never tapped into in a meditative moment and just see their world through the feeling world perspective from them, right?
Yeah.
I often say if all of a sudden you're overcome with a certain emotion and you have no reason for that emotion to exist at that moment for you, I would tap into the fact that you have a spirit visiting you that's making you feel that way for a reason.
Oh, wow.
And to ask who's here, why do you feel so moody? Why do you feel so angry? Why do you feel so, you know, hopefully you're happy all the time, but why do you feel so optimistic or motivated?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And, you know, it's a definite connection that's happening. And also check your body. If all of a sudden you're doing things, you know, with your hands, or, you know, you're talking, let's say you're having this conversation with us now and you notice that, you know, you're doing this with your hands. You're wringing your hands. And if you're not someone who wrings your hands, then you got to say to yourself, someone's making me do this. Who's with me that used to be a little nervous ninny, that used to worry a lot, you know? I remember like doing something like this with my hands. I'm like, all right, I'm constantly repeating this with motion. Either this person had a job that they had to do like this, or this was one of their, I don't know, mannerisms or tics or whatever, you know? You know, spirit can channel through you without you really kind of picking up on it. It can be very subtle. So.
Yeah, I think sometimes our students come in and they want this big bang, like you're going to get smacked in the head. And usually it's so subtle that you're like, you miss it until you really fine tune in. And that's what I love about teaching about the different clairs, because like we're doing it already. It's just a matter of putting the words to it.
Yeah, like how many of you have walked into a room and can sense how people are feeling just by walking in the room? You could tell
the air with a knife.
You can tell if there's tension or if there's happiness. You can tell there's something happening in that room before anybody says anything. You're picking up on energy. You're picking up on feelings and emotions. You're being clairsentient in that moment. Or like Heather said, the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. That's a clairsentient moment. A lot of people equate that with creepy, but it's not necessarily creepy. It's just the way your body senses something. I mean, you've been able to pick up on emotions in a room.
Yeah. There's been multiple times, a couple of different instances that I can pick up on. I've finally figured it out over the years. I can usually tell when a couple, if they're going to be getting engaged or like moving forward in their relationship, I can feel it like right when I'm around them. And then something that's somewhat, I felt kind of odd about it, but if I can walk into a room and I can tell if someone's pregnant, like I can just feel the energy is just different.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's kind of weird, but I never announced that. You
shouldn't. Yeah.
I don't do that.
Don't ever do that.
But there have been some times where I'm like, I kind of felt like, all right, like someone in the family, like I just kind of felt it, and then like a week later they'll announce it, and I'm like, okay, like
yeah,
you know,
I knew it.
Yeah, I already knew that.
You talk about picking up on if someone's gonna. Did I ever share the story about the hike up at Sleeping Giant that I did with my husband? So. We were coming down, and there was this couple off to the side. Stop me if I told the story. A couple off to the side, younger couple, and you know, walking, and my husband, I started to pick up speed. He goes, "Oh, look at that!" I said, "No, keep walking, keep walking, keep walking." He goes, "Why do we have to walk by them so fast? Just keep walking, keep walking." And he goes, as soon as we got by, I said, he was about to ask her to marry him, and she was about to say no, and I didn't want to be anywhere near that. I had sensed that energy off of him and off of her. She was like, please don't ask me. And he was just like, I can't wait to do this.
Oh.
And like,
Oh.
oh,
Oh no.
talk
I'm
about
sorry.
the guy not really having a good clairsentient sense of what's going to happen. But, and my husband's like, oh, it's a good thing I had you with me.
Yeah. Wow.
Don't want to be anywhere near that. Nope.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, great. So next week we're going to talk about
Oh,
clairaudience.
clairaudience.
Had it written
Oh,
down, yeah.
fun.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good one
topic.
too.
Hearing spirit.
I know, hearing spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People don't even realize they're doing it.
No.
It'll be exciting.
Do you want to tell your funny story now or next week?
No, we'll tell my funny story next week.
Okay, next week.
Okay. But before we sign off for today, we'll do a daily affirmation.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do our affirmations.
Yeah.
Right.
You go first.
This one.
Shuffle them up good. Okay.
I feel like I've pulled this before, but it's so true. Mine says you change your life by changing your heart. I think I pulled this one
That's
actually.
a feeling one.
It's
That's
a very feeling one.
That's a good
yes.
one.
You change your life by changing your heart. It's very true though, right?
That's a good one.
Mine's a really long one.
Oh, what do you have, Lisa?
Always continue the climb. It is possible for you to do whatever you choose if you first get to know who you are and are willing to work with a power that is greater than ourselves to do it.
Absolutely.
And that's quite fitting because you were just talking about hiking. So,
Very fitting.
That's quite fitting. It said the word climb.
Yes.
Love it.
So this one says, the key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best.
Yes.
I agree with this 100%.
And you can tell if someone's going to uplift you by their energy.
Exactly.
Yeah, might as well end it on a
Yeah.
clairsentient moment, right?
This is fitting as well.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for connecting.
Does anyone have any questions at all about Claire?
We can edit it backwards.
Yeah.
Like.
Recently I've been hearing not recently, just like ever since I was younger, I would be able to hear voices, but like they would always call my name, but it wouldn't be more like something. I just don't know what that is.
Someone's trying to talk to you, Owen. If you are hearing someone say your name, they're trying to get your attention. And you could just go into like a quiet space. For anybody that hears maybe their name, you could go into that quiet space and just ask gentle questions like, do I know you? And let your body just kind of reverberate. Like you'll lean forward if it's yes, or you'll lean backwards, because we all have a polarity about our body energy. So like you could ask simple questions like, who are you? Do I know you? Give me a happy memory, whatever you're feeling, just spit out different questions. Give me a color, give me a number. And, when you ask just questions, you can start building a conversation with it. And then you really settle into that energy where you can figure out who wants to give you that message, or maybe they're going to present something to you through that wording where you have that little light bulb or that moment go off.
I think they can use like people that around you, like their voices to contact you. Cause like I'll hear like my dad, it'll sound like my dad or my mom, or sometimes it won't sound like somebody I know, but usually sometimes it sounds like.
If you think about it, sure. I mean, sound is sound. And if you can grab a sound wave, it may mimic your mother's sound, or maybe it's from your mother's family, or maybe it mimics your father and that's from your father's family. So like we all have different tones, but like generally those tonings come from our atmospheres and our genetics.
Usually we think about it. I mean, I hear this all the time. Oh, your daughter sounds just like you.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it would stand to reason that spirits who have passed on, that your mom or dad might sound like them. You know what I mean? I do have a question here if we want to use it.
Oh, sure.
All right. So I'll ask a question. Do you ever need to buffer information that you pick up on to clients? Like, is it too soon to receive that message or too heavy?
That's a
And
good
I'm
question.
going to
That's a good
say that
question.
there are times, never do we lie. We never lie. Do we buffer it? We might say something that is will take a message and empower people with it rather than a gloom and doom kind of message. So let's say I pick up on the sense that that person's going to get some bad news when it comes to their work situation. Rather than saying, hey, I think you're going to get laid off
Or fired.
or fired, we might say, I think now the energy is right for you to start looking to progress yourself in a different way. It's a good time to really beef up your CV and see what's out there in opportunity for you rather than staying where you are.
Yeah.
So it gives them a little heads up to start doing something. We've also both have had the situation where we've had spirit show up for, let's say someone comes, I had this happen. We've had it happen with I had it happen with a sister who wanted to connect with their sister that had passed on. And this woman in front of me was grieving so hard, but the sister didn't want to talk to her at all.
Oh, wow.
And
Wow.
Obviously there was strife when they were living and arguments, and whether she was looking for forgiveness or absolution or whatever, this sister early on in her, spiritual life, just didn't want to talk to her. And so what I said to that client was, I can sense your sister here. She's unable to give you a message at this moment.
Wow.
And then I went on to talk about how I could feel her grief and what she needed to do to help herself. And I switched it from a mediumship question to a psychic question. You had the same thing happen with somebody's father, right?
Yeah, the woman came to our home studio for a reading, and she painted this picture that she was the best caretaker, and she was everything. She was everything. And she held herself personally responsible for, taking care of her father. And meanwhile, the dad standing behind me, calling his daughter every name in the book. He did not want to speak to her. He was very clear that she stole money, that she did not take care of him. He died with multiple bed sores and other conditions and the horrific conditions.
Yeah.
And she was just sitting there in this glow of light that she was everything.
Wow.
And so that really puts, and again, we don't lie, we don't sugarcoat. Instead, the same situation. Right now, I sent your father here with you. He is not ready to have a communicative talk, communicate with you right now. He's not ready to talk. Because there's no good way to tell somebody, their story is different than their story, your story. And it was embarrassing for him to he was calling her swear words.
Oh,
and
wow.
so you just don't even you don't want to drag the energy down like that. So you just let it be. Maybe over time healing will happen. If that person comes back, maybe then the father would be able to speak to her on a different level. But right now, in that moment, his consciousness was very angry with her for what she did.
Wow.
Complete opposite.
Yeah. And in the case of the sister, you have one sister who's grieving hard. You don't want to make that worse for her.
No.
True. That's a good
For the living-
point.
You don't want to
Yeah.
make that worse.
No.
I firmly believe any psychic messages you receive should be empowering, uplifting,
Motivational,
inspirational. It allows you to
Healing.
come out of that session feeling like you're on top of the world and you can do anything. Go do it. Taking it into the negative direction serves no purpose.
True.
We've had many people come through our doors where other psychics have said they're cursed.
Oh.
Oh, at first you just want to cringe, you want to fall over, you want to swear, you want to be like, what the, no. This is just someone playing off of the fact that they know that your partner passed and they know they left you a large sum of insurance money.
And they're playing on your fear.
And they're playing on fear. And
Wow.
so that will straighten out because nobody should walk around feeling haunted or cursed or all those words.
And no one should have to pay for someone to pray for you either. That gets me too.
No.
That once happened to me just for fun. I like to get a psychic reading just as much as anybody else.
Absolutely.
And I was out with a girlfriend and I don't know where we were, but I stopped in and this woman that I was getting a reading from, she was a little bit a gloomy doomy, which kind of turned me off. And then all of a sudden she says, "I will pray for you. If you pay me $50, I will pray." Well, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to keep my 50 and I'll pray for myself. Thank you. No,
My
my
best friend's a reverend. We got this.
Yeah, no problem. Many people can pray for me. That's fine. Yeah,
So
that's
there are negative stories out there.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we're doing this podcast to bring forth all the really positive parts of all this, but
Right.
you do get people out there that prey on that for money, and I don't think it's I don't think it's acceptable.
Yeah.
That nobody should be doing this for. I mean, obviously we all have to keep the roof over our heads and we have to feed ourselves and put gas in the car, but like, you shouldn't be fear mongering anybody. That's what gives us a bad name.
You know
Right.
what I also, what that question made me think of is people who are looking for medical answers.
Oh.
And they will often come to a psychic thinking you're a medical intuitive. And some psychics are medical intuitives. It's a real thing. They can see within the body or feel within the body and really pick up on exactly what's wrong with you. I'm not that. And you're not that. And I might be able to sense pain in my body, but I'm not going to be able to diagnose it and say, hey, it's a tumor or it's this or it's whatever it is. And so when people come and they have questions about health, very clear to say, not a medical intuitive.
Right.
Not a doctor, not a nurse.
But if
I
I
do get something,
if I do get some, usually what I get, if I feel like there's something energetically off with somebody, even in a healing, I will say, go see your doctor,
Yeah.
kind of thing. And that might be like a clue for someone. I don't think that's too heavy. I don't, but I'm also not going to lie and say, hey, I feel something growing within you and it must be cancer, so go see your doctor.
And no fear.
I don't have that capability or ability right now to sense that. I'm not a medical intuitive. So I think that question made me think about if it's too heavy or too soon. And I think I'm only speaking from what I think. I mean, maybe there's some medical intuitives out there that could also answer this question, but if they pick up on something that is of medical necessity, I would hope that they would tell that person and not sugarcoat it.
True.
Because knowing about a diagnosis can empower that person to do something about it.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
But anyway, there's that question.
Yeah. That was great questions all around.
So now let's pick our affirmations. So until next week, we'll get ready to connect about clairaudience. And until then, I'm Lisa.
I'm Heather.
And I'm Ryan. Thank you for tuning in to Ready to Connect. If you're interested in exclusive behind-the-scenes content, be sure to like, share, and follow us on social media by searching for Ready to Connect Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And for those looking to further support our podcast, consider subscribing to our Patreon at patreon.com/readytoconnectpodcast. And until next time, get ready to connect.